after 10 days with water issues and power issues, realized just how much water our old toilets used, and I decided to try a one of these 1.28 gallon per flush ones. And I think Costco the other day, and they had this Kohler one, a complete kit on sale. It's the first time I had seen it in there, and it's it looked like a pretty good deal, so I decided to try it. It came really well packaged, and I have to warn you that this thing probably weighs about 90 pounds in the box, so it's kind of tough for one person to carry around. But you can see here it's really packaged good, and and all wrapped in heavy cardboard, and looks really well made. Comes with a seal, wax seal for it, and it comes with basically everything that you need to install it. So this is just a video about installing it. And it also comes with a seat that's one of those assist ones that doesn't go down real fast, and real nice looking tank on it. So there's I got it out of the box there. You can see the tank assembly was really wrapped up good there too. So it'd be kind of hard for this to be damaged in shipping, which I was kind of worried about. And it's time for this old one to go. There's everything spread out. The the seat, the tank, the seals that came with it, the wax ring that comes with it, and the bowl itself. And a little warning in there, I didn't realize that a toilet could cause cancer or reproductive problems, but I guess it can in California. So anyhow, I put it next to the old one. This thing is a monster compared to the one that we've been using. It's a couple inches taller, and it's at least 6 inches longer, so it's really going to be a big change here, it looks like. So pretty much a switch over was really easy. You just have to start by turning off the valve that we had in place already. Luckily we had it. And then just do a good flush and hold the lever down to clean out the bottom of the tank and get as much water out as you can. This actually caused a lot of gum to come out of the bottom of the tank there. You can see there's like rusty water that was laying in the bottom, but it did get it fairly dry, so I won't have a mess when I remove it. So now I'm going to take some of this water that's left out of there too, because if you leave that full and you shake it a little bit and it goes up over the trap section, you're going to have a mess on the way out. So I just took an old mug that I'm going to be tossing out anyway and just brought it down till it's still just above the that trap down there, you can see. And then it's time to unhook the water line, and the top line where it hooks to the tank just had a plastic nut on there with a rubber seal that you could just on thread and just slide that down off of there, and a couple drops of water come out. And then there's a little cap on top of the mounting bolts that you just pop off with a little scraper there, and then you just have to take off the mounting bolts, and there's one on each side and the back there that go right into the flange that it mounts on. Now, this one had been installed in, I guess, 91 when they built the house, so there was still some silicone around the bottom of it there that was sticking to the linoleum that's in there, and just had to run a putty knife under there to get that all good and loose, and then I was able to just, pick it up and move it out of there. And one thing I'll warn you is once you pick that up, that trap is wide open to the septic system. So I just have some of those plastic bags I'm going to stuff in there for now to keep the odor from coming in the house, because it's pretty disgusting. So I got that out of there, and you can see it's been there for a long time, and the old wax ring was stuck in there pretty good, and they really had a big old ring on it they put on it there. You can see it was real, must have been one of those double thick ones like they used to use, and that was pretty easy to get out with a scraper. This is I should have probably called Mike Rowe for this job, though. It's turning into one of those dirty jobs. But anyhow, I got that loosened up, and then that just pulled out as an assembly. And you can see that one also had a rubber flange that went down in there. That I don't think you need that with these low flow toilets because they have such a small trap hole. I'm just gonna stuff that back in there while I clean this up a little bit and get all the old wax off of there that I can. And get the there's 2 mounting bolts that I'm going to replace. They gave you new bolts with the kit there, so I just had to tap them to get them out. They were pretty stuck in the wax. And then the rest of the floor I'm just going to wipe off what I can. We're going to be replacing this linoleum in the near future anyway, so I figure seeing how this new toilet is much bigger than the old profile there, I'm just going to not worry too much about it for now and just get any of that silicone or stuff off of there that I can and just wipe it up with a sponge. Then I had to remove the this old feed pipe because it would be too short for the new higher toilet. So this one had a compression type fitting on it, so I had to use 2 wrenches to break it free there. And once you get it, crack free, they come right out there fairly easy. So they gave you a brand new feed pipe with this toilet that actually was a little bit longer than what I needed in the end, but it was easy to bend a little bit. So the new one has a face seal. It uses like an O-ring in it with a face seal, so you have to make sure that the face of that fitting is clean good and not just the compression, that taper. So I just just started this new one on here. And I'm just going to leave it loose for now until I get everything adjusted. Now for the bottom of the new toilet, they give you this wax seal that's kind of looks like they just poured it in like this little plastic cup, and that's what they call the seal nowadays. So you had to just kind of peel it off of the plastic cup there, and it wasn't a big heavy one like the old one, but it looked like it's all you need for this. And you can see how small the trap hole is on this one here, so it's definitely going to go right down the middle anyway. So after a couple seconds there fighting with that plastic, you got to get all that out of there. And then, basically it's ready to lift into place. Now, this unit itself is extremely heavy compared to the old toilet. It weighs probably close to twice as much. I don't know, I guess it's all the china in it or something, but make sure you take out that bag that I had stuffed down there in the trapway there, and then just have to sit this over the hole and make sure that the bolts are centered in there, and just drop it down and make sure everything fits right. And there you can see how big it is. It's just a monster. And then just rock it down a little bit to get that seal to set. And now I'm just going to put the 2 mounting bolts on, and there's those little plastic caps that go on first. They're actually for locking that little cover on the bolt so you don't see it later. And one of the mistakes I made that I should have done is I should have shortened those bolts before I put them in place there. I'll show you later. It turns into a little bit more of a problem when you wait. But it's just a matter of getting that bolt in place and just slide that little plastic thing to hold the cap around so that you don't see the slot anymore. So everything will be hidden when it, is tightened down and the other cap is put on. So now it's over to the tank, and they give you this big rubber seal that goes on the tank. And then there's 2 carriage bolts that come with it that just slide into slots in the metal bracket on the bottom of the tank. And then that just drops into the 2 holes on the back of the bowl there. And that rubber gasket is pretty thick, so it'll make up for, it should make a really good seal. And then there are 2 bolts that go on the bottom of those, 2 nuts that go on the bottom of those carriage bolts there. So you just have to start them on and start tightening them up. And then all you have to do really is just rock it a little bit from side to side. Just tighten one side a little bit. There, it's set in place now, and then you just have to go down there with a wrench and make a couple turns on one side, and then go back over to the other side and do a little bit. And you really don't tighten it fully down. You just tighten it so it's compressed a little bit, and the tank pretty much stops rocking. And you really want it to be level at this point too, so give it a quick check for level. And it's just a matter of hooking that feed line up. And there you can see I had to bend it like a S a little bit just because it was a little bit longer. But it, it still worked good and still fit in there. And the top of it is just hand tight. There's that big nut on there. And then the bottom has a rubber seal in there for the compression fitting. So you just have to snug that up and then turn the water on for the first time. Now at this point in time, you're going to want to go back a couple times and just double check there's no leaks, no drips, no nothing, coming from anywhere. And I had stuffed a couple pieces of paper towel down the bowl to keep the smell from coming up when I first put it on with a dry trap. So I picked that out, and here it is. It's filling up, and the first fill up, you can see it's actually a little bit low. There's a water line mark in there that you want it to be up to. So what you have to do is there's this little adjustment on the valve there that you turn, and that'll bring it up a little bit. So I flushed it, and I just couldn't believe how fast the flush was. My old one used to run for like 30 seconds with it swirling around the bowl, and this thing was just swoosh, gone, and it filled right back up. So it's a fast flusher. I just hope it's enough so we don't have any trouble in our older plumbing system in the house. But it meets the specs. It's all plastic, and it's under 40 foot to the septic, so I think it should be good. And then once everything's all set properly and working, you just drop that top on there. And the next, you have a seat that comes with it, and that has a couple rubber bumpers on there to snap into place. And the nice thing about this seat is it's got like a soft closing type setup on it, and it also has a quick removal for cleaning, so you can just slide it off for cleaning later. So you have to, there's little caps on the back there that you have to pop off, and then there's two bolts that go in from the top, and a couple of tapered plastic nuts that go on the bottom with some little finger grips to tighten them. So you just have to hold them down a little bit because the hinge is trying to twist up with this soft close feature. So it's just a matter of getting them both started there, and then go back and line up the seat, make sure it lines up good with the tank like that, and then go back and just take a screwdriver and tighten them down good, and the caps go back in there and snap right back on. Now to remove the seat, you just have to flip up those caps and then just slide the seat forward. It'll pop right out now. So that's it, pretty much done. You can see how that thing goes down nice and easy. That'll be so good with the grandkids, because one grandson used to just let that thing, rip from the top, and it would like shake the whole house when the toilet seat came down. So this really, this really is a nice feature on it. I don't know how long it'll last or anything, but I do like it. So now we get back to the worst part of this whole install job, and that's trying to go back and cut these bolts off here and not damage the toilet. And you basically have to use a hacksaw to cut them off, and you've only got about 2 inches that you can move there, so it's not a really fast job. And it took me about 15 minutes to get those two cut off, and lots of cursing going on too. But once you do finally get them cut off, those little caps now just snap right on, and it's a real nice clean install. And the one thing I can say about this thing is it is big. I mean, with that extra height on there and the elongated bowl, it's just monstrous. But it's really very comfortable and everything. So we'll see how it works out over time. I think it'll be, I think it'll work good. Only time will tell. Just thought I'd share this to show you how easy it is to swap out one of these, newer energy-saving toilets that are around now. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.